Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's a great morning in Ward 8. It's always a great morning in Ward 8. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for gracing this space, gracing this great ward, this area east of the Anacostia River. We are thrilled and honored to welcome everyone here to this space. On behalf of Busboys and Poets and my entire staff here, can you please raise your hands, everybody that works for Busboys and Poets? Thank you. My name is, there they are raising their hands back there. My name is Andy Shalal. I'm the CEO and founder of Busboys and Poets, and it's been an honor and a pleasure for me to open up our 7th location here in the Washington metropolitan area in Anacostia. This is our lucky 7. I have to tell you, there's no community that is more loving, more welcoming, more warm, and more engaging than the folks that live around here. So I'm so thrilled to be part of this community. I want to be able to thank you, and I'm so excited about this opportunity of having the Rockefeller Foundation provide the necessary resources I think that this community desperately needs, and we can always use more resources. So we welcome any kind of efforts that try to move people forward. I would like to bring up to the podium Bo Menkiti, who is actually the developer, is going to be doing the development right down the street from here. He'll be one of our neighbors. So please come on up.
Thank you, Andy, and good morning, Anacostia. Good morning. My name's Bo Menkiti. I'm the founder and CEO of the Menkiti Group. We're a DC-based, minority-owned development company that's been focused on transforming lives, careers, and communities through real estate in urban neighborhoods. And we're the developer of the MLK Gateway project, just one block down the street. You'll see as you come across the bridge and into this community. We're honored to join our Mayor Bowser, the Rockefeller Foundation, the Local Initiative Support Corporation, and city leaders from Dallas, St. Louis, and Oakland today as we work to harness the power of the Opportunity Zone program to deliver meaningful and tangible results for communities here in Anacostia and around the country. In 2016, our mayor issued an RFP seeking partners to redevelop the MLK Gateway site. This was a site that it's 2 sites actually, that sat long vacant at the intersection of Good Hope Road and MLK, and truly was a gateway as you come across the bridge into this community and you enter historic Anacostia. We saw the project as a great opportunity to play a part in the long overdue investment in this neighborhood, and also to ensure that the perspective of the community got incorporated into what happened in its future. We had a sense that there was a deep amount of latent capacity and assets in the community, in our residents, in our small businesses, and that if we could harness those and incorporate them into the project, we could create something that would really drive the project forward and the community forward together as the community participated in its own economic development. To do that, we set out on a journey, and that was really a journey to listen and a journey to understand what those assets were that existed in the community, and to understand what the hopes and dreams and needs of the residents and small businesses here were. What we heard was a call for jobs, a call for an opportunity to participate in the economic development that was coming into the community. We heard a call for fresh food, access to financial services, opportunities for sit-down restaurants and neighborhood-serving retail. And most importantly, we heard a call to return the intersection of Good Hope Road and MLK to the center of commerce that it once served in this community. There was a real adamancy that this was going to be Main and Main. This was going to be where the neighborhood street of Good Hope Road met the main drag of MLK, and it was going to be a place of commerce here in Anacostia. As we move forward to do that and move that into a project, with the help of the community, we were able to create a vision for inclusion and participation that included jobs, with our partner Enlightened. So Antoine Ford, right here, the CEO of Enlightened, and his partner Andre Rogers. Antoine grew up in the Carver Terrace housing development here in Washington, D.C. He went on to go to GW and built an amazing technology company. When Enlightened relocates their headquarters here from Connecticut and K to the corner of Good Hope Road and MLK, they will be bringing 150 employees with them. They'll be the largest private employer to move east of the Anacostia River in over 4 decades. And so we're really excited to have them as a catalyst for this as a tech innovation hub. And the community's vision didn't just stop with jobs. It got into a vision for healthy foods, so bringing fresh foods into the neighborhood, for bringing restaurants and neighborhood serving retail, and access to financial services, all of which will be part of the project. To move the project forward, we partnered with LISC, and it's been an amazing partnership, as LISC has brought all of its different resources to bear on helping to move the project forward. And I want to sort of give a shout out to Maurice and Ramon and George, who've been just tremendous partners, along with their team, Ryan, Nadia, and Tiffany, who are somewhere out here. They've brought this partnership together, pulling on all the different resources that LISC has to bring to the table, from a pre-development loan to a new market tax credit allocation, to being co-GPs with us in the Empower Qualified Opportunity Zone Fund, which will be providing the Opportunity Zone investment in this project and moving it forward. MLK Gateway is the type of project the Opportunity Zone program was intended to create and support. It's a project that makes sense for investors, it makes sense for the development team, it makes sense for the city, but most importantly, it makes sense for Anacostia and for the residents of Anacostia and the small businesses that reside here. The Rockefeller Foundation's Opportunity Zone Community Capacity Building Initiative is the type of program that will help communities identify and facilitate projects just like this around the country and here in Washington, D.C. These projects are catalytic, they're community-centric, and they ensure that a community's voice and its opportunities for its residents and small businesses get reflected in the economic development opportunities that are created through the Opportunity Zone program. It's been in our company's DNA to approach projects from a neighborhood scale and from a neighborhood approach and with an engagement with the community. And we're really honored today to get to stand next to all these great organizations to be part of this project and be part of this great commitment that the Rockefeller Foundation is making to facilitating projects like this and harnessing the power of the Opportunity Zone program to move things forward. So thank you very much. I'd like to now turn it over to a gentleman that I had to take 1 second of privilege to say. This gentleman works tirelessly to improve this city. He's often behind the scenes, but he's always at the forefront of making the key decisions and the impact that happens in this city. It's our interim deputy mayor for Planning and Economic Development, John Falchecchio.
Thank you so much, Bo, for that introduction and the work that you're going to do. I am John Falchecchio. I'm Mayor Bowser's chief of staff, and this summer I took on a small project and stepped in as the interim deputy mayor for Planning and Economic Development. And we have a great team that I get to lead there. But when Bo is making his remarks and talking about his and Antoine's story, it reminded me of the lens that the mayor talked to me about when I was taking on this role. She said that we no longer should judge ourselves just by the cranes that we put in the sky, but the roots that we keep in the ground. And Bo and Antoine are the embodiment of that statement. So we have to give them a round of applause. And let's keep that in mind as we look at opportunity zones and how we utilize them as in a tool and bringing the vibrancy that we see when we add neighborhood retail, when we add grocery stores. Now, I talk about tools because Bo is going to need a lot of tools to pull off the MLK Gateway. He's going to need a lot of hammers, a lot of nails, but he's also going to need incentives. And so I wanted to talk about two incentives that we're putting on the table. One that we just announced yesterday. Mayor Bowser signed a mayor's order yesterday that would drive all of our government office space leasing east of the river. One, we want to make sure that we better connect with residents east of the river and that having our government agencies located and housed here in Wards 7 and 8 does that. But it'll also add a daytime vibrancy that we think will drive more retail uses, and we really want to look to grocery-anchored developments for our office space. So that's something that you could look for. The other thing that you might have heard about, came out yesterday, was that we're moving forward with the demolition of RFK Stadium. Someone took that personally. It's okay. And the reason we're doing that is because we want to send a signal to the Congress that we're serious about creating a mixed-use neighborhood that is vibrant, that allows us to build more housing, both affordable housing, workforce housing, and beyond. And so we do that, and when you think about it for a moment, it really resonates with why we're here today. If you look at RFK Stadium and you look at that campus, we've already made a down payment to the community by putting the fields at RFK. We will next talk to the Congress about transferring that land, which is about 190 acres, to the District of Columbia. We don't ask for it for free. We'll pay fair market value. And if you imagine for a moment 190 acres on the banks of the Anacostia River and what kind of neighborhood that can mean in a city that has a housing pressure, what could that mean to us? So we'll look to all of you to help us lobby the Congress to make sure that that transfer goes through. And the reason I mention it, Dr. Shaw, is because it happens to be an opportunity zone. So with that, I want to just mention a few things that we've actually done on opportunity zones. There's a great team at DemPed, Sarosh, Jonathan, our guru on opportunity zones is Sharon. They have come up with a couple steps that we can take in order to get ready for opportunity zones and what it means. We've set up an opportunity zone core, which is professional service providers who commit to providing pro bono consultations to residents and organizations based in our opportunity zones so that they have the support to really live out what the mayor said, not just the cranes in the air, but the roots in the ground as well. And then in July, we launched the ozmarketplace.dc.gov. ozmarketplace.dc.gov. If anybody's on their smartphone, check it out now. That's a platform to connect project sponsors, community members, funds, and investors. And then last month, we created new ways to tie community benefits to OZ projects. We will offer wage reimbursement for projects that provide on-the-job training for DC residents and added preference points for affordable housing projects located in opportunity zones. So today, we're thrilled to partner with the Rockefeller Foundation to use opportunity zones as a tool for good. And so I also want to just acknowledge two folks who have joined us from the White House, Nicole Frazier, who's a special assistant to the president, and Scott Turner. It's important that we work with our federal partners to make sure that we are getting all that we can out of opportunity zones and that they benefit the residents who live here today. So I want to just bring up our next speaker. The Rockefeller Foundation, if you don't know, helped DC as we put together our resilience plan. And that was a big first step for us to engage stakeholders. I see Kevin is here to talk about how we get ready for all of those challenges that we may have in the future. So that was the first way that we partner with the Rockefeller Foundation in order to get ready for what's to come. And today, I want to bring up Dr. Shaw to tell us about how we're going to work together on opportunity zones and leveraging it for our residents.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for that kind introduction, and thank you, John and Mayor Bowser, for having us here today. We're really excited to be joined by, the Rockefeller Foundation, as you mentioned, has had a history of working with cities around the country. We're proud of our work with the Washington, D.C. on resilience and the resilience plan for the city. We're also proud of our work in more than 24 other cities around this country. And one thing we have learned is that dynamic mayors committed to doing practical things to help lift people up and improve their cities is what continues to give us hope when sometimes our politics are a little fractured at other levels. And so we're excited to have some of our mayoral partners from other cities here today. Eric Johnson from Dallas, thank you for joining us. Lydia Cruson from St. Louis, thank you for being here. And Mara Kishia Smith from Oakland, the city administrator, thank you for representing Oakland today. I also want to say the Rockefeller Foundation is based in New York, and we have been there for 106 years and will continue to be there for probably another 106. We do have some roots in this community, and one of them is our great trustee, Patty Stonecipher, who led Martha's Table, and all of you know of her commitment to Anacostia. And another one is our Chief Operating Officer, Steve Van Rokel, who lives in Washington as well. Now, so we're here with you all the time in D.C. When we look at the Opportunity Zone tax credit and the opportunity that affords investors to put their resources to work in local communities, we believe that it will unlock billions and billions of dollars of investment in almost 8,800 designated Opportunity Zone communities around the country. And these communities, like Anacostia, are minority-majority communities. They are minority communities, sorry. They have a poverty rate that's 2 or 3 times the national average. They have an unemployment rate that's 3 or 4 times the national average. So we were proud of our work with governors around the country to help designate zones that we believe need and will benefit from investment if it's done right. Here's the catch. This week, there's been a lot of news about opportunity zones highlighting investments that maybe are not being done with the same spirit that you just heard from Bo and that you see next door at the MLK Gateway. And so we see it as our task to bring together civil society organizations as best we can, to work with mayors, work with investors, to try to have more MLK gateways and fewer examples of wealthy developers benefiting from projects they would already have done. And so it meant a lot to me to hear Bo say that that deal would not have happened without the Opportunity Zone designation and law and fund. And we believe there are thousands of similar transactions that can create hundreds of thousands of jobs around the country that, like that case, will in fact be benefited by this if we do it right. So our task as the Rockefeller Foundation is to try to make the law work for working families in communities as intended. We have supported the Opportunity Zones reporting framework, a framework we created with 20 other major U.S. foundations and impact investors. It's voluntary because we're a foundation, not a government, but we encourage everyone who makes an Opportunity Zone investment happen to join that reporting framework and publish the impact of your investment and your development on the local community, because data and transparency is a big part of making sure we're helping people who live in these communities. We've worked with the Treasury and the IRS, and we look forward to working with the White House to see if we can optimize and improve some of those reporting requirements and standards going forward. We will continue to partner with great cities and great mayors, which is why we are announcing today a $4 million commitment to support these 4 cities to help them create, thank you, to help them create chief opportunity zone officers or designate a senior official to take responsibility for the program, to help invest in partners like LISC and BCT partners that can do the community engagement and make sure that every single deal that gets invested in with Opportunity Zone funds does what happened next door, 70 community meetings, a lot of outreach and listening, a lot of making sure that if there are 150 jobs coming here, there are also going to be new jobs created by Antoine and his company right here in Anacostia that are great technology jobs that have the opportunity to really improve training and workforce access for local community members. Those are the kinds of things that we get to support, and those we are hoping the result of that are a lot of great examples of communities and families being lifted up at a time when America needs a little less cynicism in our politics and a little more practical optimism on the ground. And so we're honored to be here with you, a group of optimists who are making it happen. And I'm going to introduce in this city, our optimist-in-chief, Mayor Muriel Bowser.
Well, good morning, everybody. Or it is morning, yes. And I like that introduction, Rajiv, optimist-in-chief, and I'll take that. I am so delighted to be in number 7, our beautiful bus boys and poets here in Anacostia. So give Andy Shalal a big round of applause. One thing that has worked for us, to all of our guests, is local businesses who've made investments in neighborhoods and have a successful model like Busboys and Poets, looking to other neighborhoods, taking a chance, partnering with us in some cases, and creating number 7. And what you will find when you come to Busboys and Poets is, of course, good food, great service, books, knowledge, and art. But you're also going to find D.C. residents working. So thank you, Andy, for your commitment to Washington, D.C. Mayors, I'm delighted to welcome you to our city to show off some of what we're doing and also to learn what's happening in Dallas, what's happening in St. Louis, and how we can work with great partners like the Rockefeller Foundation to make all the economic development tools at our disposal create jobs, housing, and opportunity for our people. So yes, I am into optimism, but I am even more into opportunity for DC residents. And so everything that we do around economic development is meant to spread the prosperity that we have created here in Washington so that more Washingtonians can have safe and affordable housing, can know their career path, and can produce the type of future for their children that we all expect and deserve in Washington, D.C. That sounds like a plan, right? So I want to acknowledge our former First Lady, Cora Masters-Berry, and thank you always for being here, Cora. And mayors, I want to thank you for traveling to our city to also support what we are doing. You heard from the deputy mayor some of our focus on east of the river. And I challenged my team. You know, I earned a second term. And in a second term, I said we will continue to be bold and we will continue to push for the tough things that all of our residents deserve. And part of that strategy was to set a goal to create 36,000 new units of housing by 2025. And that is going to allow more Washingtonians to participate in the prosperity that we're creating. But in creating 36,000 new units, all of those folks need a good paying job. In creating that type of opportunity in Ward 8, it is part of our strategy. Focusing our leasing. You know, we're a big purchaser, and we're a big leaser, DC government. And we can focus our leasing power in neighborhoods that have had less investment in roads and transportation and the infrastructure that has helped build up so much of all of the other parts of Washington, D.C. And that's why we are very pleased to focus that attention here in the district. You heard Dr. Shaw talk about some concerns that have been rightly raised about what opportunity zones, who they benefit and who they should benefit, and how we can make sure they benefit the neighborhoods and people that need help the most. And we've been working on these ideas for several months to see how we could pair our local programs with the opportunity zones and with the help of our friends at the Rockefeller Foundation. So not only will we look at the opportunity zone as a tool, but see how it can work with our affordable housing programs, with our community investment programs, with all of the programs that we make available for our commercial areas and small business assistance. And we are pleased to have partners like LIS and BCT Partners that are going to help us get that done. So with that, I'll stop talking. You know I'm excited and optimistic about what this means for this corridor and corridors around the District of Columbia. And I'm pleased now to introduce one of my colleagues from the great state of Texas, Mayor Johnson. Mayor Jones. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Well, Mayor Bowser, I want to say to you, first of all, thank you so much for your hospitality and hosting us here in your beautiful city. This is a wonderful, wonderful facility here. We're trying to do very similar things in certain communities in Dallas. And so I just want to say thank you to you, but I also want to say this now. I'm the mayor of Dallas. You don't get to be the mayor of Dallas by coming to Washington and not saying, on September 15th now, right here, it goes down right here on September 15th. We've got about a week. So we have about a week to work out whatever wager we're going to work. It'll be my first mayoral wager ever. That's that to be cool. So we need to figure out something to do. I've only been mayor for 12 weeks. It'll be 12 weeks on Monday, so I'm brand new. So it'll be an honor to have something going on the Cowboys-Redskins game that's going to happen here on the 15th. But thank you so much. And to the Rockefeller Foundation, I want to say to you, Dr. Shaw, everyone with the Rockefeller, thank you so much for this grant. We're here today from the city of Dallas with our Director of Economic Development, Michael Mendoza. He's here somewhere. But we really appreciate this opportunity, and I'll tell you why. I'm the 60th mayor of Dallas, I'm only the second person of color in 180 years of history of Dallas being a city. And I'm the first person, period, to ever come from one of the communities in Dallas that these opportunity zones are going to impact. I came from the wrong side of the tracks, or however you want to describe it. But I grew up in Dallas. I'm a native. And a program like this, to me, when I hear about this type of a program, if you grew up in Dallas and you grew up where I did, what you hear is has the potential to go one of three ways. It's either not going to accomplish anything at all, it's going to make the situation better, or it's going to make the situation worse. And your grant is going to allow our city to work across departments and with the relevant stakeholders here to make sure that this isn't yet another program, another broken promise, or another missed opportunity to actually improve the communities like the one that I grew up in. So I'm deeply grateful on a personal level for this. This is something that we wouldn't be able to do on our own, but with your help, we're going to be able to make sure that this is a success. So on behalf of the city of Dallas, the home of the Dallas Cowboys, I want to say thank you, and I want to introduce the next mayor, whose city, unfortunately, does not have a football team for me to pick on, the wonderful mayor of St. Louis, who I've been friends with for the past 15 minutes now, Lyda Krewson. Mayor Krewson.
Thank you, Mayor. So, we may not have a football team. You all may have heard of our old team. We don't mention the name in St. Louis. But we are the winners of the Stanley Cup in hockey, so hear. And week before last, we do have the 28th MLS franchise in St. Louis, and we're the home of the Cardinals, probably going to be in the World Series this year. So anyway, with that, let's get back to the subject. I just want to say how excited I am to be here today and to be able to work once again with the Rockefeller Foundation. You have been so helpful to St. Louis. And Rajiv, thank you very much for helping to lead the way. You've done a lot for us already, and we could not be more excited than we are today to be one of the winners of the Opportunity Zone project here. And so Opportunity Zone for Optimists, I think that maybe should be something that we coin here, because I think there is so much optimism in all of our cities, and if we're able to take advantage of this Opportunity Zone incentive, the way we should take advantage of this incentive, we'll be able to make very transformative changes for our city. So we are very excited about this. In St. Louis, we have a lot of momentum. We have a Stanley Cup and we have an MLS team and the Cardinals. But we have a lot of momentum in development. About $8 billion, which for a city the size of St. Louis is a very huge amount of momentum that we have going currently. But I love the line, was it your line or someone's, that is, let's not just count cranes in the sky, but let's count roots in the ground. Was that how that went? And I think that's absolutely right, because this development has not happened in all areas of our city. We're very proud and excited about that development, but we have to have the tools to be able to move these development dollars to not the easiest place to develop, to the second easiest or the third easiest place to develop. But it won't happen but for this Opportunity Zone and these incentives. So we are very excited. We have several projects that we've been trying to get off the ground for several years, frankly, that with this Opportunity Zone, we hope we're going to be able to nudge those projects that are not in the easiest areas to develop. We hope that we're going to be able to nudge them into really happening, and we think that we will. So we call it in St. Louis, I know you all have we call it the Del Mar Divide. And Del Mar's a street in St. Louis, and it is a divider. We're trying to change that by making it the Del Mar connection, and we believe that through this Opportunity Zone we'll have a much better chance of doing that. Let me see what else I need to say here. Well, I do want to say that for us to be able to participate in this program is really transformative, we think, for our city and for the 4 cities who are here today. We're all lucky. In St. Louis, we have 27 census tracts that are part of our Opportunity Zone. There are close to 400 that are a part of this project. And so we are looking forward to being able to take advantage of the good consulting, I will call it, and be able to have someone on our staff who gets up every single day and thinks about this first, rather than adding this to what someone else is doing. So that's very transformative for us. So thank you all for allowing us to be part of this project. Mayor Bowser, thank you so much for hosting us here today. And now I'd like to introduce, as the next speaker, Markeisha Smith. And Markeisha's from Oakland, California. She had a long commute here. So come on up and tell us about your city.
So this is a tough crowd. I won't talk about football, but my roots are from Kentucky, so I don't think anybody in here has a basketball team that is good as Kentucky, so we won't even go there. So I am not the mayor. My name is Markeisha Smith. I'm the Assistant City Administrator for the City of Oakland. So on behalf of Mayor Libby Schaaf and City Administrator Sabrina Landreth, I would like to thank the Rockefeller Foundation for their generous support, which will advance the City of Oakland's work in maximizing the potential for Opportunity Zone investments into equitable, high-impact projects in our 30 designated census tracts. The work of our Chief Opportunity Zone Officer will help foster equitable economic growth and improve outcomes through enhanced access to opportunities and wealth building for our current low-income residents and businesses. While more than half of Oakland businesses are people of color, revenues in those businesses represent less than 10% of our total business revenue. The long-term business vacancy was nearly 2.5 times higher in majority African-American census tracts and 1.5 times higher in majority Latino census tracts than majority white census tracts. Opportunity Zone investments can help correct these disinvestments that have disproportionately impacted communities of color. In Oakland, we value long-term investments that will result in community-desired outcomes such as affordable housing, construction and preservation, investments in businesses owned by people of color and women, revitalization of commercial districts with neighborhood-serving businesses, and high-density projects at transit hubs. It's vital that these investments foster growth without, let me repeat that, without displacing African Americans or other longstanding Oakland residents. So we're proud that Rockefeller Foundation selected Oakland as its partner city on the West Coast. So again, we want to thank you for your confidence in Oakland to achieve work through positive social impacts. And with that, I would like to introduce Otis Rowley, Managing Director for the Rockefeller Foundation's Jobs and Economic Opportunity Initiative.
Good morning, everyone. I promise I won't talk to you about sports, but I do want to talk a little bit about how we are trying to invest to level the playing field. So mayors, administrator, thank you so much, Madam Mayor. Mayors, administrators, trustees, honored guests, and partners, under the leadership of Dr. Shaw and my SVP, Debbie Wright, I'm proud to work on the U.S. Jobs and Economic Opportunity team. Our vision is that every person who works should be able to meet the basic needs of their families and have a path to a better future. The U.S. Jobs and Economic Opportunity two-pronged strategy is built around trying to achieve this vision. The first prong seeks to identify and scale solutions for low-wage workers And our second prong seeks to mobilize private capital for people and places. It is in this work of the mobilization of private capital that we engage in our grant making to build the capacity of communities to really reap the benefits of opportunity zones. One of the challenges that many local governments face in the effective utilization of opportunity zones is that often in many distressed areas we have great ideas about what we want to do, but not enough detail to truly entice investors and to bring those ideas to life. It requires a great deal of resources for these local governments and communities to fund and to execute the work that's necessary to prove that these investment opportunities are indeed economically feasible. So how do we help families? How do we help localities? How do we help to move from ideas to actual projects? And how do we help to make sure that those developments come with the intended equity, economic stability, and economic mobility goals and objectives that truly match the city and community's vision for their neighborhood and for their people? Tough questions, right? Well, these tough questions, to answer them, we thought we should go to some really smart people. Maybe some Rhodes Scholars could help us to answer these questions. And so literally, we went to two Rhodes Scholars, Maurice Jones and Dr. Randall Pinkett, who lead LISC and BCT Partners, respectively. And today, I'm excited to, on behalf of the Rockefeller Foundation, to announce our partnership with LISC and BCT Partners to help localities move from mere ideas into development projects and operating businesses. Together, LISC and BCT Partners will create OZ impact pipeline teams, SWAT teams that are going to work with our communities to really help to move these projects forward. LISC will lead these teams, leveraging their extensive national and local infrastructure and financial products. They will work in coordination with each city's opportunity zone coordinators, such as Sharon here in DC, as well as leading work focused on real estate development and pre-development. And Dr. Randall Pinkett and his team at BCT Partners will lead on work around business investing development, including local government engagement, business community and entrepreneurs and potential investors. They are dynamic, mission-driven leaders, and their teams are great and truly committed, not just to this work, but they're committed to the communities that they serve. They are going to be a truly phenomenal resource for all of your cities. Now, it is my honor to bring to the stage Maurice Jones, the president of LISC, to share a little bit more about those partnerships.
Well, good morning. Now, I'm the younger of the two of us. Look, I said good morning. I know there are more people than that in here. Good morning. Good morning. This is a celebration, right? That's what this is. So we're going to pass the offering plate around in a little bit. But before I do that, I want to thank Rockefeller. I want to thank Raj and team. Otis and I sat down, I think we're in Palo Alto, a few months back saying, okay, this is what we need to do. And this has come from an idea literally almost on a napkin to reality. So I want to thank Rockefeller for that. I also want to say that I got the wager right here. The winning city invests an additional $150 million in opportunity zones. And the losing city invests $250. Does that work? Does that work for you all? I'm just saying. I do also want to recognize all the mayors in this room. We work with mayors all across the city, all across the country, and what we know for sure is that mayors have to get work done. Fill potholes, deal with residents whose water may not be running this day or that day, deal with transportation issues, get businesses. You run enterprises where you got to make decisions every day, and they impact people. And so I want to step back and say thank you to the mayors. I want to recognize the LISC team. I want to recognize George, Ramon, everybody from LISC. Raise your hand. Thank you all for LISC. LISC, just in this ward alone, since in the last 4 or 5 years, has invested $45 million in connection with the 11th Street Bridge project. We made a commitment. We made a commitment to invest 50. This is going to take us over that. We will not stop. This is our home, and we're going to make sure we stay with you. Otis mentioned what this is all about, and I just wanted to recap. There are $6 trillion a year of capital gains in this country. Those capital gains investors turn around, pay taxes, and invest those gains somewhere else and make more money. We want them to invest it in Ward 8. That's what this is about, right? We want them to see that making an investment in Ward 8 will produce both a financial return and a community benefit, a double bottom line. But in order for us to attract those investors, we got to get them projects that they can invest in. We got to get projects, as they say, investment ready and shovel ready. And we got to do it quickly, more quickly than we're doing it now. That's what this partnership is all about, putting teams on the ground, working with local government, working with the business sector, working with the nonprofit sector, and working with residents in communities to get projects that they want invested in to the point where they're so attractive that investors cannot resist. And we know it can be done. We've invested already $2.5 billion in opportunity zones before they were opportunity zones. So we know that the talent and the projects are here. We got to be intentional about it. Two things: we need a high-functioning team, and we got to be intentional. And that's what this partnership is about. We're delighted to be here. I'm delighted to be working with my partner here, Randy. He and I have crossed paths in many ways, and it's an exciting thing to be working on this project with him. So thank you all for that. Newark, D.C., St. Louis, Oakland, Atlanta, and Dallas. That's just an appetizer. That's where we start. We need to do this in every city across America and in rural America as well. So thank you all for your support. Thank you in particular. You want to, I think I bring back the Deputy Mayor so we can get out of here. Mr. Deputy Mayor, thank you all.
Well, the question is always, what do you say when everything else has been said? Not much. So I just want to do a couple housekeeping for our stage participants. We're going to move to this room. We're going to do a group photo. Members of the press, we're going to meet outside of this room for any questions that you have for any of the participants. For everybody here, though, how many folks have already taken their capital gains and invested in an opportunity zone? Show of hands. Okay, good. There's a couple that went up. But everybody today can participate in an opportunity zone. We're in one right now. Kate and Shonda from the DemPed team, when we were thinking about where to do this event, said let's do it at Busboys and Poets. So we're in an opportunity zone. For the challenge for everybody in the audience, if you haven't invested in an opportunity zone just yet, go down to Check It Enterprises. See Ronald Moten, buy a T-shirt, and talk to him about the Go-Go Museum that he hopes to build. If you need something beyond the soul and you need something for the body, check out Turning Natural. I suggest the 50 Shades of Green. It's a great juice. And then if you need something a little bit stronger, the bartenders right here at Busboys and Poets have something for you. And if you need something even stronger and have a medical marijuana card, you can go to Anacostia Organics and see Linda Green. The reason I mention that is because there are small businesses here in Ward 8, in this opportunity zone, that'll benefit from the work that all of us do. All of us have a chance to support them. All of us have a chance to invest. And that's why we're here today. And we thank you all for coming. Thanks again.